Hello Year 4. Your work pack this week will be on my favourite animal, hippopotamus. There will be two videos going up today. The first, which I'll be reading the story When Hippo Was Hairy, which is one of your texts and your comprehension questions. And the second video, we'll be going through the whole pack. I'll explain what you need to do and we'll be doing some examples of some SPAG questions. I hope you enjoy this pack and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of your assignments in during next week and this week. Thank you for your hard work. Bye. Okay, so as I said, one of your texts this week is going to be the story of When Hippo Was Hairy. So this is a story which explains why Hippo stays in the water all day and only comes out to feed at night. I've underlined certain parts of the text and I will be talking about some of them and asking you to talk about the other parts. Then the words that are underlined in red are in the vocabulary section in your packs. So, long, long ago, hippos did not live in rivers and pools. They lived in the bush with other herd animals. In those days, Hippo had a very fine coat of glossy chestnut brown hair. Now, the phrase very fine coat of glossy chestnut brown hair suggests to me that Hippo had long hair, it was nice and fine and felt really nice to touch and was a lovely brown colour. This does not mean a coat like the raincoat that we would wear, but it is similar in the fact it offers warmth and protects them and covers around them. He also had silky soft ears and a beautiful bushy tail of which he was overly proud. Now the words overly proud make me think that he didn't just like them and like showing them off. He was really, really proud of them and would tell anybody who wanted to hear. Every day at noon when he had his drink, he would spend hours gazing at his own reflection in the water, turning this way and that to admire himself from every angle. So to admire yourself from every angle means not just to look at yourself, but to turn sideways and the other way, maybe turn backwards, and really just love the way you look. His vanity was so great that he demanded that all the other animals should praise his beauty. Vanity, this comes from the word vain, which means to show off and just to be really happy and impressed with yourself. He demanded, so the word demanded really makes me think there wasn't an option, there wasn't a choice. He would make the other animals do this. He would make them praise his beauty, so tell him how beautiful he was. One day, when he was at the water's edge, admiring his own reflection, he said to himself, "Oh, how handsome I am! Not a bit like that stupid hare with his coarse coat, long ears, and silly twitchy nose. What a ridiculously short tail he has! And how clumsily he hops." So there's a lot of words in here that we're going to be looking at. So the word coarse, I'd like you to look up in your vocabulary section. Silly twitchy nose. If he's called hare's nose silly and twitchy, he's obviously not being very kind to hare, is he? And the ridiculously short tail. Another way just to show that the hippo's not being very kind to hare. And how clumsily he hops. So the word clumsy makes me believe that hare isn't very coordinated when he's hopping along. He doesn't look like he knows what he's doing, but still this is quite unkind of Hippo. Unfortunately for Hippo, hare just happened to be nearby and he overheard what Hippo was saying. He was furious. He decided that Hippo needed to learn humility. Now I'd like you to think what that might mean, and you're going to have a question about that in your pack. What needed to learn humility means. You might want to ask an adult or think about the word humility. After thinking for a while, Hare collected a large pile of soft dry grass under a large umbrella tree. He offered it to Hippo, saying, "Oh, magnificent Hippo, here is a warm bed that I have prepared for you, since winter is on its way and the nights are growing cold." Hippo accepted the gift condescendingly and gave Hare a haughty nod. So I'd like you to think there, it's a very tricky word, condescendingly. How might Hippo accept this gift from Hare when he thinks that he's much better from Hare? And what would a haughty nod? Why would he give that nod to Hare? Have a think about that with the relationship that Hippo and Hare have at the moment. Yes, Hare, he said, I must be looked after. I'm glad to see that you realise your responsibilities. Really like you to think there. What responsibilities do you think that Hare has that Hippo believes he should be realising? Hare nearly choked with rage. What a vain creature Hippo was. Just you wait, my fine friend, he thought to himself, and he helped Hippo settle down comfortably. Then Hare ran to the nearby village. While everyone in the village was busy drinking beer, he crept up to the cooking fire and stole some glowing embers. Have a think, why do you think Hare needed to steal those embers? And check in your vocabulary what the word embers means. He carried them off on a piece of broken clay pot. Something for you to be thinking about. Why might he need to carry them in a broken piece of clay pot? Hippo was snoring happily in his warm bed of dry grass when Hare got back. What does that phrase, snoring happily, tell us about Hippo? Hare crept up and threw in the burning embers, blowing on them until he had a fine blaze going. Poor Hippo awoke to find that his fine coat of fur was on fire. He heard Hare laughing nastily as he dashed off out of the way. Hippo was confused and terrified, and at first he just thrashed about trying to beat out the flames. Soon, however, the fire reached his skin, and in agony he charged away towards the waterhole. As he crashed through the bush, the fire spread to the dry winter grass, and soon the whole area was ablaze. Hippo reached the water just in time to save his life. The flames were put out, and the cool water soothed his pain. The fire raged around the water's edge, and Hippo had to hold his breath and sink below the surface. Only his eyes and nostrils showed when he came up for air. The bushfire burned for a long time, but at last, it died out. Hippo climbed out of the pool. He felt stiff and sore, but he was very much alive. Just have a think about why some of those words are underlined. He was going to find Hare and give him the beating of his life, but Hippo couldn't resist his habit of pausing to look at himself in the pool. He got a terrible shock. Reflected in the water was a pinky grey, wrinkled, bald creature. He could not believe his eyes. His lovely bushy tail was gone. All his hair had been burned off, and ugly round pink ears poked out where his long silky ones used to be. Without the fine glossy fur, his legs looked short and stubby, and his flanks bulged with fat. Hippo was horrified. He was ashamed, broken-hearted, and most of all, embarrassed. He rushed straight back into the water to hide his body from curious eyes. Weeping with shame at his dreadful appearance, he sank below the surface so that only his nostrils and eyes showed. And there he has remained ever since. Hippo is now a creature of rivers and lakes. Only at night, when no one can see him, does he come out to walk and graze at the edge of the forest. Although he is still vain at heart, it happened so long ago that today hardly anyone remembers how Hippo once was hairy.